You're standing in your childhood home, the one your parents worked 3 decades to pay off, the furniture they saved years to buy, the investments they sacrificed vacations for, delayed retirement for, stressed over every single month. And you feel nothing. Actually, that's not true. You feel something. You feel guilty. Because you know you should feel grateful. You know you should feel proud. You know you should feel secure. But instead, there's this weird emptiness, this disconnect, like you're living in a museum of someone else's achievements. And every time you try to enjoy it, to really sink into the comfort and security they built for you, something inside you says no. You don't deserve this. You didn't earn this. This isn't really yours, so you either sabotage it, slowly destroying what they built, or you hoard it anxiously, never allowing yourself to actually benefit from it, perpetually waiting for the other shoe to drop. And today we're going deep into the psychology of why heritage wealth doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a trap. If this resonates with you, if you've inherited money or assets or a family business and feel more burdened than blessed, you need to know something important. Millions of people from wealth-building families live this exact silent struggle every single day. Maybe you inherited the house but can't bring yourself to sell it, even though it doesn't fit your life. Maybe you got money from your parents, but it sits untouched in an account because spending it feels wrong. Maybe you took over the family business, but you're running it into the ground because some part of you needs to fail. Or maybe you're so terrified of losing what they built that you live like you're broke, even though you're not. Psychologists and family wealth advisors call this heritage wealth dysphoria. It's when you inherit financial security, but instead of feeling secure, you feel fraudulent, guilty, anxious, or completely disconnected from the wealth itself. And here's what nobody tells you. This isn't about being ungrateful. This isn't about being spoiled. This is your psyche trying to reconcile an impossible equation. How do you integrate into your identity something you didn't create? How do you feel worthy of something you didn't earn? How do you own something that fundamentally belongs to someone else's story? So let's go back to the beginning. Because this didn't start when you inherited. This started way earlier. Maybe you grew up watching your parents sacrifice everything. Watching your dad work 70-hour weeks. Watching your mum deny herself basic pleasures to save. Hearing them fight about money even when they had it because the scarcity wound ran so deep. And your child brain learned a rule. Money equals suffering. Wealth requires sacrifice. To have means to struggle. And now you've inherited wealth without the struggle. Money without the suffering. And your nervous system doesn't know how to compute that. So it creates the suffering artificially. Through guilt. Through self-sabotage. Through an inability to enjoy. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe your parents never talked about money. It was just there, invisible, unacknowledged. And you absorbed this message that money is something you don't discuss, don't acknowledge, don't think about. Just something that exists in the background like electricity. So now when you actually have to make decisions about it, manage it, plan with it, your brain short-circuits because you were never taught that money is something you actively steward. You were taught it's something that just happens to you. Or maybe your parents used money as control. Approval came with strings, love came with conditions, help came with lectures, and money became the currency of emotional manipulation in your family. So now, even though they're gone or they've handed it over, that money still carries the same emotional charge. It's not neutral. It's loaded with decades of family dynamics you never resolved. Your 8-year-old brain couldn't process any of this rationally, so it created a simple survival rule, and that rule is still running in the background of your adult financial life decades later. From a neuropsychological standpoint, here's what's happening. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, knows you inherited this wealth, knows it's legally yours, knows you should use it, enjoy it, steward it wisely. But your limbic system, the emotional part, is screaming a completely different message. You didn't earn this, you're not worthy of this. If you enjoy this, you're betraying your parents' sacrifice. If you lose this, you're destroying their legacy. If you change anything, you're dishonoring their memory. And when there's a conflict between logic and emotion, emotion wins every single time. So you end up in this bizarre limbo. You have wealth, but you can't access it emotionally. You have security, but you feel anxious. You have freedom, but you feel trapped. Because the money isn't just money. It's your parents' dreams, their identity, their life's work compressed into numbers in an account, and you're supposed to just casually integrate that into your life, make decisions about it, enjoy it. That's not a financial challenge. That's an existential one. And as you grow up, this manifests in ways you might not even recognize. You make way less money than you could because unconsciously you don't want to surpass your parents. You self-sabotage every financial opportunity because succeeding on your own would mean you didn't actually need their help. You hoard their money so tightly you can't breathe because spending it feels like killing them all over again. You hide your inheritance from friends because you're terrified they'll think you're spoiled, privileged, undeserving. You overcompensate by working yourself to death, trying to prove you would have made it without them. You develop this weird imposter syndrome where you feel like a fraud in your own life because nothing you have feels truly yours. Your relationships suffer, your partner resents the money you won't spend, your siblings fight over who got more, who deserves what, who's handling it better. Your kids grow up watching you treat family wealth like radioactive material, and they're learning the exact same dysfunction you're trying to escape. You stay in a job you hate because you're terrified of risking the security they gave you. You don't invest in your dreams because their money is supposed to be for emergencies, not experiments. You live in constant low-grade anxiety, waiting for the inevitable moment when you mess it all up and prove you never deserved it in the first place. And here's the cruel irony. You're not enjoying what they built, which means their sacrifice didn't actually give you a better life. It gave you a different prison. They worked their whole lives so you could be free. And you're using that freedom to stay trapped in guilt, anxiety, and unworthiness. And you've probably tried to fix this. You've read books on wealth management. You've talked to financial advisors who tell you the smart moves to make. You've tried to just get over it, just be grateful, just move on. But none of it works long term. You know why? Because you're trying to solve an emotional problem with logical solutions. You're treating a wound with a spreadsheet. And that's like trying to cure depression by balancing your checkbook. The tools don't match the problem. Here's what's really happening. You're not struggling with wealth management. You're struggling with identity integration. The wealth carries your parents' identity, their values, their dreams, their wounds. And you're trying to figure out how to honor that while also becoming your own person. How to respect their legacy while also living your own life. How to be grateful for what they gave you while also resenting what they couldn't give you, which was permission to be different from them. And while you're stuck in this paralysis, you're paying a price that goes way beyond money. You're losing time, opportunities, experiences, relationships. You're losing your actual life while trying to figure out how to live it in a way that honors their memory. You're sacrificing your present to protect their past, and they're not even here to see it. But here's where everything shifts. The first step isn't creating a better wealth plan. It's creating separation between their story and yours, because their wealth is now your wealth. Not in a legal sense, you already knew that. In an emotional sense. And emotional ownership means giving yourself permission to make it mean what you need it to mean. Not what they needed it to mean. Not what you think you should make it mean. What you actually need it to mean. When you understand that honoring their legacy doesn't mean freezing their choices in amber, when you realize that the best way to respect their sacrifice is to actually benefit from it, when you finally see that they didn't work that hard so you could spend your whole life feeling guilty, something inside you relaxes. You stop trying to earn what's already yours. You stop trying to prove you're worthy of what was given freely. You stop waiting for permission that's never coming, because the only person who can give it to you is you. So if you're trapped in heritage wealth dysphoria, if you inherited money or property or a business and it feels more like a curse than a blessing, I want you to know something. You're not ungrateful. You're not spoiled. You're not broken. You're someone trying to integrate someone else's life work into your own identity. And that's not a financial task. It's a psychological one. It's developmental. It's spiritual. And it's okay that it's hard. It's okay that you feel conflicted. It's okay that you don't have it figured out, because this isn't something you solve. It's something you metabolize, slowly, imperfectly, with a lot of false starts and backtracking and confusion. But each time you make one choice that honors both them and you, each time you spend their money in a way that reflects your values while respecting theirs, each time you allow yourself to benefit from their sacrifice without drowning in guilt about it, you're doing the work. You're integrating. You're becoming whole. You're learning that heritage wealth isn't a trap. It's raw material. And what you build with it, how you shape it, what meaning you give it, that's your story, not theirs. Because at the end of the day, heritage isn't about money. It's about what gets passed down that money can't buy. Values, wounds, dreams, fears. And your job isn't to preserve all of that perfectly unchanged. Your job is to take what serves you, heal what hurts you, and build something new that's actually yours. And maybe for the first time, when you look at what they left you, you won't feel trapped. You'll feel free. Free to choose, free to change, free to honor them by actually living, not by staying frozen in their story, but by writing your own. And that's the inheritance they actually wanted you to have.